The following presentation deals with planning and improving programs and projects. Part 1, Setting the Scene, provides context and also describes various challenges. Part 2, Systematic Approach, addresses opportunity areas and opportunity reviews. While the focus is on major programs and megaprojects, the principles can be applied to many other endeavors in a variety of fields.
Hello, Martin Phillips here. Thank you for joining me today. I'm a consultant with Team Focus Global Solutions. We use our Pathfinder Performance Solutions Accelerator to uncover significant opportunities for organizations to improve their programs and projects. Our focus is on identifying best overall value by improving performance and reducing resource requirements. Opportunities and risks can be huge, with potentially significant impact on return on investment and other parameters for success. This presentation is on innovating for best overall value in major programs and mega projects and is based on many assignments conducted around the world. This first part, 1, is about setting the scene in terms of context and some common challenges. It is quite common for programs and projects to deviate from their intended paths, especially over protracted periods of time. My own observation is that many programs and megaprojects have their own climate, conditions, and procedures. As well, there is clearly a need to define best value schemes from the outset, as distinct from the all too often fuzzy front end that can often be observed elsewhere, and to maintain optimal value for the duration of the complete life cycle. This presentation should be of interest to owners, investors, and developers in terms of earlier operational startup and in-service benefits, e.g. production start, environmental cleanup, and flood relief, etc. Accelerated revenue stream and payback. Capital cost savings which may then be made available for other program areas or projects. Most favorable total cost of ownership and transparency of decision-making. Also of interest to designers and constructors regarding optimal scheduling and costs and reduced rework. Let's now take a look at what is innovation. The following definitions work well for me. Innovation is making changes in something established, especially by introducing new methods, ideas, or products, and the practice of identifying, developing, and introducing new things or methods. Note that it is much more than brainstorming. It requires a foundation and follow-through to be successful. And we are not looking for just a few small tweaks here and there. We are practicing breakthrough innovation. So why innovate? Today, we have an abundance of systems, experts, and expert systems. And yet there are still approval and funding delays, budget and schedule overruns, and stakeholder concerns. Let's take a look at an example of outcomes from an innovation review, conducted quite late because the problem of excessive costs surfaced only when the design-build tenders wildly exceeded budget expectations. Outcomes were reactivation of stalled contract negotiations leading to more than 30% capital cost savings and 1 year earlier completion. As well, significant other benefits, much earlier reduction of pollution, reduced social and environmental disruption, earlier removal of the regional development ban, improved functionality, constructability, and longevity, and operating efficiency improvements. Note that an earlier review could have significantly expedited these outcomes further, and the cost of such a review is extremely small compared with the rewards just listed. In another example, a 4-day innovation and testing workshop led to enhanced functionality and implementable savings of $100 million for an international EPC consortium and its owner-client investment partners. I would like to say, wow, but these examples are not unusual, although this level does require a very well-orchestrated effort. Innovation for optimum solutions can guide investment decisions in the areas of strategic direction, conceptual choice, program or project execution, or revitalization, business turnaround. Example topic areas are as listed here. Quite a spectrum. Initial focus of a review is on defining overall best value across the asset life. Subsequently, the focus should be on improving performance efficiency. However, if not conducted previously, a late in the day review typically reverts to overall value improvement by changing conceptual aspects that should have been discovered much earlier. Moving up to a level of considerations of the overall program, we have the aspects of resourcing, impacts, continuous improvement, communication, and performance definition and measurement, as well as a host of other managerial prime considerations as listed around this wheel, starting with policy, systems, and procedures, and working through several other considerations, such as managing interfaces and uncertainty. So where should we innovate? It is important to have a clear understanding of the reason and objective for innovating. Here we see a 360-degree framework for focusing efforts as opposed to the more typical linear representation of a life cycle from inception to end. The key to understanding areas ripe for innovation is to fully understand performance requirements and related ratings of performance of the program or project for each of the measurable performance criterion. The set of performance criteria, categorized as either business or functionality, is used for strategizing, analyzing, screening, testing, selecting, decision-making, and ultimately monitoring, so they should be consistent throughout the process. The focus of innovation typically shifts from strategic value and overall business risk to investment case and stakeholder endorsement and commitment, to transactional value and collateral risk, and operational performance and compliance risk. Back to the project level, an example of stakeholder groups is shown here for the various phases of strategic alignment, concept definition, project delivery, and facility operation. Certainly a lot of varying interests, too many to discuss right now. Also showing here a project assurance grouping of value assurance, stage gate approvals process, performance assurance for quality surveillance, inspection, cost, schedule, monitoring, change control, operational operability, maintainability, and reliability, stakeholder engagement, and risk assessment. Adding to this, we have the conundrum of typical conditions of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity versus program expectations of satisfying the trilemma of considerations of equity, sustainability, and resiliency versus project requirements for actions to be smart, that is, specific, measurable, agreed and actionable, realistic, time-bound, and transparent. And the bottom line always comes back to money in either the short term or the longer term, or both. Some problems with major projects. According to informed sources referenced at the bottom of the screen, large projects typically take 20% longer to finish than scheduled and are up to 80% over budget, and 30 to 40% of project cost results from rework. When it comes to risks to delivery of major projects, the largest typical risks that impact delivery to meet final investment decision schedule are, by risk of occurrence, Insufficient due diligence in pre-final investment decision planning and estimation, 50%, 56% risk. Original planning assumptions are not representative, 48% risk of occurrence. Changes to scope of asset development and specifications, 48% risk of occurrence. As well, lack of resources with full lifecycle management experience, 36% risk of occurrence. This concludes part 1, setting the scene for opportunity reviews for understanding the gaps before moving into closing the gaps.